started.
Hi.
Hi, everyone.
Hello.
So, hello. Lunch away. Okay. So it is with pleasure that I present to you today some information to help us prepare for this upcoming exhibit of Do Not Destroy, Trees, Art, and Jewish Thought. So this exhibit explores the connection between Judaism and the environment. And today I will present 3 central themes and Jewish concepts that are explored in this exhibit.
Should they be taking notes, or are you going to give them printouts of any of these notes?
I will give you some printouts.
Perfect.
So you'll have it all in front of you.
Yay!
If you want to take notes, though, that's cool too. Whatever helps you remember some information. So these 3 themes that I mentioned are, I'm going to list them. The first one is Do Not Destroy, in the title, of course, but this is Bal Tashchit. Should we all try that?
Bal Tashchit.
You got to really get the in there if you want to be somewhat authentic, but that's Hebrew for Do Not Destroy. The second theme is Repairing the World, or Tikkun Olam in Hebrew. Should we all try that?
Tikkun Olam.
You guys are doing really well. And number 3 is this Jewish tree holiday that we're discussing called Tu B'Shvat. Let's all try that one.
Tu B'Shvat.
Excellent. So this first theme is Do Not Destroy. So the title of this exhibit is taken from a commandment in the Torah, Jewish Bible, from the book of Deuteronomy. So this commandment forbids the reckless destruction of trees during wartime, as you can see here. So in the Torah it is stated that when you besiege a city for a long time, making war against it in order to take it, you shall not destroy its trees by wielding an axe against them. You may eat from them, but you shall not cut them down. So in Hebrew, do not destroy is Bal Tashchit, and today this concept of Bal Tashchit is used more widely as a basis for a Jewish feeling of responsibility to shield all nature from unnecessary harm. So Maimonides, who's this preeminent philosopher and scholar from long ago medieval times, gave a teaching that, quote, whenever someone destroys a useful artifact or rips clothing, demolishes a building, plugs up a spring, or senselessly destroys food, it violates the spirit of Torah's do not destroy rule. Such actions are disgraceful. So, the piece that you see here, if you can see it, the glare might be, it's called Blackfield, and it is by the artist Zadok Ben David. Thank you.
Presentation? The second one? Yeah.
There we go. So, Blackfield by Zadok Ben David. So this installation features a pygmy forest of thousands of 2 to 3 inch high steel plant sculptures that sprout out from a field of sand. So when this piece is viewed from the front, one faces an overwhelming field of blackness. So the backs of all these little sculptures are black. But when viewed from the back, it is revealed that the back sides of the sculptures have been colored with vibrant blues and pinks and yellows and oranges. So the small scale of this project, it's evocative of this idea that saving the environment can seem like this huge, overwhelming task. But when we actually get down to it, we can make change. And in other words, the fate of the environment is in our hands. So that's Bal Tashchit. Do not destroy. So number 2, the second theme, illuminates another strong connection between Judaism and environmentalism. So this is called Tikkun Olam, this concept which translates from Hebrew as repairing the world. And this actually comes from a teaching that says that in the beginning of time, there was this entity that was pure and whole, and it was shattered. And so this idea of repairing the world comes from this teaching that our lives today are about piecing things back together from what was originally shattered. So tikkun olam connects to this broader idea of social justice or action, and it does not solely concern this physical world and environmentalism. And some say that it is one of the most important values of Jewish life. So, Johanna, I don't really know, Johanna Bresnik and Michael Cloud Hirschfeld examined the notion of tikkun olam with their piece, Lo Poversa, Meditation on Emptiness with the Sound of Its Own Making. So they constructed this work from destroyed furniture, and in so doing illustrated the theme of piecing things back together and repairing what was broken or shattered. So this piece also reflects the Jewish tradition of examination and questioning, as it contains an audio component that features the artist's discussion and process of challenging and questioning one another in preparation for the creation of this piece. So these two biblical commandments, do not destroy, al tashlit, and repairing the world, tikkun olam, are very much connected. So as Bay Area residents, we might have been raised with recycling and not wasting and saving the planet. And though not everyone does these things, they're not new concepts. We've all heard them before. So what we can learn here is that they are deeply rooted in Jewish sources and traditions. So, we have Bal Tashchit, right, do not destroy, Tikkun Olam, repairing the world, and here we are at our third theme, Tu B'Shvat. So, the third theme is related to this holiday called Tu B'Shvat, and it's the name of a day. Tu B'Shvat is the name of a day, so it's the 15th of the month of Shevat, which is in the Hebrew calendar, Shevat is a month, in the winter time. And it is a holiday, as we might use the term, the 4th of July or the 1st of January, January 1st. And speaking of January 1st, New Year's, of course, Tu B'Shvat is often called the New Year for the trees. So my question for you all right now is, why do you think we might have a New Year for the trees? Yes, right.
I think that, like, at a certain point, and unfortunately now we're not there, but trees were, like, a really integral part of everyone's life. Like, they were sort of the source for all sustenance and stuff. So I think that in that sense they were really important, and I guess they deserve to be honored for
Yeah, excellent.
I mean, like, trees, they represent, like, the seasons and everything. Like, in autumn, it'll be brown and red. In the spring, it might be, like, pink. Maybe I was just thinking, like, how it marks the calendar,
Yeah.
like, kind of time of year.
And the cycle.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, thinking about its cycle, you know, trees and just all plant life kind of represent renewal and, like, you know, growing from a, like, small seed into a large, like, plant that gives, like Francesca was talking about. So, yeah, the cycle of renewal.
And every year, like, that the tree grows, it, like, has a new little circle thing. So, I don't know, I think it, like, marks time and, like, you know, the first day of the year.
So, yes.
Also, I think it might be like a sign of progress because it's growing, and so as Luna said, how it gives back, and something might just be like part of a growing.
Yes, I agree. So, my personal thought is that New Year's are like birthdays, and birthdays are when we celebrate something and also think about that thing's importance in our lives or in this world. So, in that way, I think about, you know, the birthday for the trees, which is another way to describe Tu B'Shvat. So, the origins of Tu B'Shvat are very practical. It began as a calendar marker for the agrarian, which is related to agriculture, calendar. And there are various tree-related commandments in Jewish scripture that require this calendar counting. So, for instance, there's this law called Or Law, which prohibits the picking of fruit from a tree during its first 3 years. And another law, Neta Reva'i, requires that the fruit of 4-year-old crops be brought to Jerusalem as a tithe, which is a sort of yearly tax offering. So these are laws that require this calendar counting. So these days, people celebrate Tu B'Shvat a little differently because the Jewish people are no longer a society of farmers. So many Jews plant trees on Tu B'Shvat. So going to a Jewish day school, every year we would go out, and it was always muddy because it had always rained the night before our field trip, and we would plant trees. And it was always this time of, I always enjoyed it, to say always a few more times. In any case, so the piece you see here is this piece by an Israeli artist named Tal Shochat, who created it with photographs of the native trees of Israel. So Francesca's going to touch on this one in a little more depth, but the title, I'll explain, refers to Hebrew and English names of 4 fruit trees. So there's a farsek, which is peach, shaked, which is almond, tapuach, which is apple, rimon, pomegranate, and a farsimon, which is persimmon. And that's 5 fruit trees, so pardon my 4. Yep, there are 5 up there. So in these photos, Shochat removed all context for the trees, and in so doing, evoked this idealized vision of Eden. Francesca will go into that one for sure. Okay, so another way to celebrate Tu B'Shvat is, as we are experiencing now, by participating in a Tu B'Shvat Seder. So this is this festive and ritualized meal that we're experiencing that typically involves eating various kinds of fruits and nuts, like you see here, and drinking wine, as we discussed, and engaging in reflection about this holiday. So for even those who don't host or attend Seders, Tu B'Shvat provides an excellent opportunity to reflect on the ways in which we might positively or negatively affect our environment. And so I invite you all to think about the ways in which you relate to the physical world. And that is exactly what the artists were asked to do with this exhibit's invitational. They were invited to reflect on Tu B'Shvat and these themes and create a work of art as an expression of this reflection. So this piece behind me is by the artist Helen Ailon, who responded to this prompt by creating an engraved glass, which could be used in this Tu B'Shvat Seder. So you may remember our discussions of the biblical figure of Hagar, who's the subject of Jacques Lipschit's sculpture on the 2nd floor. And as a reminder, she was Abraham and Sarah's handmaiden when she gave birth to Ishmael, who was Abraham's son, and then she was banished to the desert. So Ailon says that, quote, on the Jewish New Year, we ask forgiveness of fellow human beings. As Tu B'Shvat is the new year for trees, I ask forgiveness of an ancient human being who could not sit under the protective shade of a tree. Hagar was banished to the arid wilderness to die of thirst. Where was chesed, the Hebrew word for loving kindness, that is the hallmark of Tu B'Shvat? So with her art, Ailon makes us think about the complexity of these stories and concepts, and this exhibition does the same. So as you can see, Tu B'Shvat provides a venue for exploration of many rich themes in Jewish scripture and life. You will notice these 3 themes, again, Val Tashchit, do not destroy, Tikkun Olam, repairing the world, and the 3rd, Tu B'Shvat, this holiday, New Year for the trees. So you'll see these 3 themes throughout the upcoming exhibition, so I hope you now know a little bit more about the context and meaning behind these terms.
Thanks.